Hello, everyone. And now, so I think everyone knows about the Nazis. There's been tons of movies and video games about World War II, and you should have learned about them in history class. However, I think something people don't really think about or talk about at all is the fact that Nazi Germany was extremely powerful. Like, they were really powerful. And I don't think many people talk about it really. Like, yes, everyone knows the Nazis were bad, they were evil, and they needed to be stopped. But I don't think people really understand basically just how powerful they were. Again, like World War II took 5 years. Like it took 5 years to defeat the Nazis, and like Nazi Germany actually almost took over the world. Like Hitler actually almost took over basically all of Europe and all that. And okay, he didn't like take over the world, but he almost took over all of Europe. And I know there are people out there who say that Nazi Germany could have never won World War II. I personally disagree with that because I do think if, like, I always say this, if Hitler never invaded the Soviet Union, I do believe he would have won. Because he basically already won, like, by the end of 1940. By the end of 1940, like, but basically, France he already took France. Britain was Britain was just losing, and they basically had to leave France, and like that's where like the whole Battle of Dunkirk happened. They were just retreating, and the United States wasn't in. So, like, if they never invaded, like I always say, if they never invaded Russia, they probably would have won. Like I always say that Hitler invading the Soviet Union, that is the dumbest and smartest move that he ever did. It was the dumbest because it made his army weak, divided on two fronts, and it made him lose. But it's the smartest decision that he ever made because it made him lose. And it made his army weaker and fighting on two fronts. Now, like, and again, I know that people who are like, no, he would have never won. To me, he basically was already winning. He was already winning, and if he actually, if he never attacked the Soviet Union and just focused everything on Great Britain, I feel like he would have won. Now, yes, we could think about like, well, what if when the United States stepped in, I still think he would have been able to like beat them. Like I still think he would have been able to beat the United States if he did not invade the Soviet Union. Like this is why I always say if he did not invade the Soviet Union, I personally believe he would have won, because him invading the Soviet Union, it really weakened his forces. They were now fighting on two fronts, both the Eastern and Western front, and so it was like resources and troops had to go basically both sides and all that, and he was losing a lot of men on both sides. And like the D-Day invasion and like D-Day invasion, like Nazis were basically already weakened at that point because not only the African, but not only the battles in Africa and all that, but also the entire battle against Russia. Russia and the Soviet Union really weakened Hitler and the Nazis. So by the time D-Day, it was still very hard. Like I wouldn't say like it wasn't easy for the Allies invading D-Day, like D-Day and liberating France and all that. It wasn't easy for them, but they were weakened. Nazi Germany was weakened at that point. But like I was just thinking about it just today that I don't think people really understand just how powerful the Nazis were, because they were extremely powerful, and the fact that they basically almost took over the world is terrifying. Like Hitler was actually very close, and like I still stand by that. Him invading the Soviet Union was the dumbest and the smartest thing for him to do. Dumbest because it made him lose. Smartest because it made him lose. So, yeah, I was just thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, I'll make a quick video talking about it, because they were extremely powerful. In my opinion, they were basically the strongest army, like, in the world at that time, and it took many countries to take them out. It did not just take the United States, Britain, and Soviet Union. It also took Canada and like France and like the French Resistance and like the Warsaw Uprising as well. There was many things that like it was basically Germany against the entire world, and Germany almost won in 1940, and then they invaded Russia and then they lost. So like they were extremely powerful, and I really don't think people really understand, or either understand or don't want to talk about just how powerful Nazi Germany was, and just how close they were to actually like winning World War II. Thank God they didn't, because that would be awful if they won. But thankfully they didn't. Suck it, Hitler.